this archaeology? Get out of there, Dan!
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Already. There we go. Now we're live.
Yeah, I see us. Hey, everybody.
Yo.
How's it going? What's up, Richie?
Oh man, it's been both a long and short week. But I also discovered that, oh my god, I want to bring up something like sometimes you work in towns and they're terrible, and other times you work in towns and they're really cool. And I was working in a town called Reading, which I hadn't been to since there was a Society for California Archaeology meeting. And it's it's a surprisingly nice town now. I'm not sure if it was a nice town the last time I was there.
It's Reading. I've only been there a few times, and I think I was possibly at that Society for California Archaeology meeting. I can't remember, but it was it's always super hot to me in Reading. You come down from, say, the first time I went there, we were coming down from Alturas, where it was nice and cool, and you just come down into Reading, it was 40 degrees warmer.
By the way, is it me or is it everyone who's worked on the Ruby pipeline know Alturas?
Yeah, well, it was kind of an anchor point.
It's everyone I don't know if it was the only one, but I feel like everyone stopped at that Ace Hardware at Alturas to stock up and stuff.
All I remember is the coffee shop that had great pizza on Wednesdays or something like that. It was a cafe, but then they also had pizza night or something. And then there was one other little restaurant there. I remember that because I was with Pacific Legacy, and once every session near the end, we would have kind of a crew day where we'd go and have a lunch, or we'd have something in the middle of the workday, and we'd get paid for it because it was an excuse to do timesheets.
Oh,
so it's like a crew feed day.
God.
So
wait, when you were at Pacific Legacy, maybe it was different from office to office, but did you guys have to fax in your receipts and everything?
It wasn't receipts.
Oh,
it was
lucky.
cash per diem. so we didn't have to do receipts. Yeah, I think it's project based. It's not necessarily the office for some companies. So, but that project didn't
I feel
require
like
receipts.
Pacific Legacy was the last company I ever worked at that actually had fax machines in their offices, and we had to fax stuff back and forth.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I mean, how do you fax stuff when you're like out in the field?
Oh,
How do you fax back things? You can't find a
no, that
fax
was
machine
like
anywhere.
the thing. It was like you know how you're always talking about efficiency and working smarter. Basically, at the end of our 10-day rotation, like that would be like our start in the office and like fill out your timesheet and fax stuff in morning. So my
Yeah.
God, we'd spend like most of the morning right
Yeah.
up till about lunch. Like everyone would just be there at the one fax machine, faxing in the sheets one at a time.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you.
Ugh.
So, hey, how's your coffee
Oh my
straw
God.
working up?
It's basically it's like it makes me want to redo all my stuff again. Because
That transformative, huh?
Obviously I'm like a lot of other coffee people. I feel like I don't know what it is. Like archaeology just seems to draw all the coffee nerds. And so like everyone I know like has either, has the fancy
Exactly.
pour over or the God, what is that thing that you push down? Oh God. The the AeroPress.
French press. Or the AeroPress. Yeah, I've got an
and,
AeroPress. Yeah.
Like some people like they bring their own grinders and everything. And it's just like, oh my God. But for me,
Yeah.
first thing in the morning, especially when I want to sleep in, like hit the snooze, like, I can't just be standing there like, making sure like I do that first pour correctly. I always forget what you call that one. The one where you're supposed to make it like, make a crust at the top and then, and then you gotta like 3
Mhm.
pours and then you gotta start from the center and move out. And it's like so zen. It's
I mean, yeah. I mean, those rules are subjective, right? Like there's a number of ways to do it. And as long as you like the taste of your coffee, then you're doing it right. That's what it comes
See?
down
And
to with
that's why
coffee.
the straw is
Yeah.
so handy.
So, yeah. Yeah. Well, for those that don't know what we're talking about, and this is no sponsor or affiliation, Richie just thought it was a cool thing, and I went and bought one too. But it's called the Jogo straw. It's coming out of my cup right here. But Jogo,
Yeah.
that's what it's called, right? Jogo, I think. Yeah. My blurred background is kind of messing it up. Let me put it in front of my body. But yeah, anyway, it's just got a filter down the end of it, and you just dump your grounds inside the cup and you pour hot water on it. You let it brew like you would any coffee, probably stir it up a little bit. And you don't take the grounds out. You just suck right through and it filters as you drink it. So, but we were talking about like disposable, not disposable straws, reusable straws. And the first one we ever got was this one I've got right here from a company called Final Straw. And they've got some other stuff now too, but I like this one because it's a nice small. Let me do this while I'm trying to talk here.
They look like AirPods. Or the case does.
Yeah, right. Well, it's like a tent pole, so it comes out into 4 sections, and it's got silicone on both ends. Oh shit! I just dumped my coffee
seriously?
everywhere. Yeah, and on my computer. So stand by. Keep talking.
Oh my God. Well, Chris can still hear me, so he can still listen to what's going on. But Amy apparently is listening in Placerville, and the interesting thing is that there's supposed to be an overlanding or maybe a van life summit going on there sometime soon. Like I don't know why, but Instagram keeps reminding me about it. In fact, we can probably hear if Chris wants to yell.
Yeah. It just kind of hit the edge of my computer, so I think
Wait,
it's probably
your actual
fine.
computer?
Well, yeah.
Oh man, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see, what was it? I use ThinkPads a lot. Obviously I've switched over to the Mac M1, but one of the things that ThinkPads were famous for is that they had a special keyboard that would basically, how could I put this? It wasn't spill proof, but it had a special like drain in it, and the keyboard base was shaped so that if you spilled coffee on your keyboard on your laptop, it would like channel it out and over. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Interesting. Your video went away.
Yeah. It did. Well, I'm like lifting my computer up and moving it around. There's literally coffee everywhere because I caught the edge of the straw on my arm. So
hopefully it didn't get on the computer, like in it.
And it did. It went on my keyboard, but I think it went just on the edge of it, and I think I kind of caught it in time and Hopefully
Oh wait,
got
are
it
you one
okay.
of those
But
people who
man,
does or
it's
does
just like
not get
everywhere.
Apple Care?
I don't know if I have Apple Care on some things. I don't know if I have it on this computer because I have my business insurance
Ooh,
basically covers it. I have a $500 deductible, and I can just get a new computer for $500.
interesting.
So
Wait, does it work faster than Apple Care?
yeah, I don't know if it's faster. They're pretty quick though. I mean, I replaced the laptop uh, once before when I was on that. I think it was on that China Lake project. The battery just kind of like expanded on me and
Ooh.
went crazy, and took it in, and they said, "Yeah, this is bad. You're gonna have to replace pretty much the whole thing." And I told my insurance
Yeah.
company, and they're like, "Great, sounds good to us. Send us a receipt." And they sent me a check.
Oh my God.
So
You know, it's interesting. I know we talked about this before on the show, but here's the thing. You know, I've been following like this what was it? Like a teardrop trailer channel or group on Facebook.
mm-hmm.
And it still gets to me how many people will spend money on like a brand new trailer or RV or whatnot, use it like 2 times and then decide it's not for them, and then like leave it in the yard for like a year or two and then sell it at a big loss.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, big loss.
It's like, man, you know, it's like, oh my God. And I was thinking, and the only reason I bring that up is because I was thinking about it today. Um, Basically, if you're the sort of person who goes someplace and you don't want to do anything, like you don't like hiking and you don't like looking at nature, buying an
Mm-hmm.
RV and then going camping is not going to suddenly make you into that person. If that makes any sense to anyone.
No, it's really not.
Like, I feel like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got
yeah,
kind of just
because I
like it.
feel like you've been in enough RV parks and I've been in enough campgrounds where you see those people who, like, you know, show up in the big Class A RV and then they
Mm-hmm.
set up their generator and then their satellite dish and then that's it. They're just there. they they're like in this beautiful
Yeah.
place and they like literally don't leave the RV unless they're going to like grocery shopping or the restaurant, and then they come back.
Well, okay, so I've got a
Oh,
little more perspective on that because you can't assume that
yeah,
every person that is at that RV park, whether they're in a big Class A or a tent,
yeah,
is just there for the week or the weekend. You know, people who are there on vacation will tend to go
yeah,
out and do other things, and people who, like, there's definitely times when, you know, we're just working solidly and we don't leave the RV much during the week. Just like, you know, when you're at home, you know, if you're
yeah.
working from home, you're probably not going to leave home too much because you're just working and then you've got stuff to
Oh,
do at
true.
home and then, you know, whatever. But so there's definitely times when, you know, we're inside more than we're outside during the week because we're just living our lives. And I think you got to assume, I mean, you're right. There are definitely people who get out and they go to an RV park and, you know, they just set up and they're doing their own thing inside there. But if they're paying for dish service and they've got their satellite set up or something like that, they're probably, if not full time, they're probably most time. And because you're not gonna put all that stuff up there if you don't use it all the time. So anyway, I just wouldn't make that assumption
Oh my
too
God, you
quickly.
know, it's a long, you know, obviously you know about Starlink, but for people who are not aware of it, like I've been bombarded with stories about how Starlink is now like, you know, like RV slash van life compatible and you can bring it with you and blah blah blah. And I was actually seriously thinking about it, even though when I'm home it'd be useless.
Yeah. Not necessarily. Well, it would be because you don't have a good place to put it. You need a north facing sky and you've
Yeah,
got too many obstructions. So it actually wouldn't
yeah,
even work at your house. You'd have to mount something on the roof of your apartment, which
yeah,
they're not going to let you do. But if you're out, you know, or you're somewhere else, the other big problem is you need, you know, AC power. So, you know, you need an inverter that can put out, you know, continuous enough power to power the dish, and it's about 80 watts that it
yeah.
takes, give or take. So you gotta keep that in mind. But anyway, I'll just give anybody who's interested, a little bit of a primer on the Starlink RV stuff that just came out. So if you don't have a dish right now and you are mobile, you're thinking about using it in different places, the RV thing is probably a decent way to go because you can freely roam around the country without worrying about, you know, what your home service address is.
Yeah.
And it will just work. But here's the secret. If you have a dish now, it works that way right now anyway. Like you can just roam. Like we haven't changed our service address in a month and a half, and we've been in like 5 different places because every place I've tried to
Yeah,
change it to, you do get better service if you can change your address to
yeah,
the location you're at. But every place I've tried to change it to, it was capacity. And even though it was at capacity, like right now where I'm sitting at in podunk little Quilcene, Washington, it's at capacity here for some reason. And we're still getting, speeds of 200 to 250 down and 50 up. So it's yeah.
I mean, because for
Yeah.
me, oh God, who is it? Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat as we're going. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Amy was talking about Starlink, but the thing is for me is the fact that
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, like remember in the olden days when you would just like have a big sheaf of paperwork you just like throw in, you just like toss to someone in the office. Whereas now,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, there's so much paperwork to do, and it's like so much. It's not just like it's not just like little files. It's like big files. It's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
there's just so much junk to turn in, and like I'm expected to like turn it in whether or not the hotel like has good internet or not, and sometimes they do, but sometimes you're in a place where it's just like garbage. It's just like such a hassle.
Yeah. 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 I hear you. I hear you.
Plus, I will be the first person to admit sometimes when you're sitting there in a truck monitoring, and you don't want to well, let's just say, maybe during lunchtime as opposed to like during regular work time. You want to watch a video instead of like doing Sudoku or whatever people used to do in the olden days.
In the olden days. I think just read books.
Oh
That's what
God.
I used to do.
I have a friend who she's no longer in archaeology, but she actually taught herself how to not knit but crochet. I don't even know what the difference between knitting and crocheting is.
I mean, I don't know. It's different knots. Rachel could tell you, but it's Rachel didn't learn to knit while working in archaeology, but she definitely picked it back up and taught herself more advanced techniques while being in archaeology, partly monitoring and partly just riding in crew vehicles and long trips out to the field. Sometimes those trips are long and you got to have something to do. So that's what she picked up.
Oh wait, let's see. All right, we're caught up in chat. Oh my God, last week or God, I forget how many was it like last week or the week before we were last live streamed.
I don't know. It was a week or two ago.
One of those things. I totally forgot. There's so many things that happen that I feel like are interesting that I should bring up. Like let's see.
Well,
oh
go
God,
ahead.
I forgot the town, but there's a town on the California-Nevada border, like as you're heading towards Vegas. And it's a long story, but I was working there, and like how there's like things that are statistically impossible unless they're being deliberately done. Basically 2 days in a row,
Right.
I had a screw in my tire.
Jeez, 2 days in a row?
Yeah. And it's a long story, but for people who have never seen my truck before, basically it looks like an overlanding rig, and I was parking amongst the work trucks, and I guess someone took offense to that because one screw, you can like dismiss as coincidence, but two screws, especially when they're actually in the groove, like it's actually screwed straight in the groove, is like not a coincidence. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I think one of the work crews was doing it because they were like, oh man, because they're just some people like some. God, I hate to like sound condescending, but there's some like working class people, let's call them, like people who like drive work trucks all the time, who basically look at an overlanding rig and just see red. They're like, oh my God, that person never uses it for anything, blah blah. They're just posers and blah blah. So I'm just gonna show them, Whereas obviously, I was using it for work, so that was like a real pain, especially when you don't notice it before you leave the hotel and you're in the field and you're hoping, man, I hope the screw doesn't come out and like let all the air out.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course
Jeez,
I was an
that
hour
really
away.
sucks.
Yeah, and I was an hour away from like Vegas proper, which is the only place I could get like my tire fixed, which was a super pain.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky they're not stealing catalytic converters too. Apparently that's a big thing right now.
Oh my God, like apparently Toyotas are like really big for that, and like big enough that they sell special armor kits for like most Toyota models.
Well, you know why? Toyota's F-150s, it's because of the ground clearance. You can easily slide under there, grab it, and go.
Oh,
they saw them out in like a minute.
Oh, and God, so I was talking to someone who owns a Prius, and he said Toyota uses more of the material they want in like the Prius catalytic converters than they do in normal ones. Or I guess not just Prius, but any of their hybrid any other
Mhm.
hybrids.
Hey, hold on a second. I got a flashback here. Amy was asking, did I say 200 down and 50 up in an area with capacity? And I responded yes, but I went and did a speed test on my phone.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, we're live streaming on my computer.
Yeah.
I'm watching the live stream on my iPad, and the Indy 500 is on my Apple TV and muted.
Oh, I forgot.
So all those things are happening right now, and I still got 98 down and 11 up with all that still streaming. So if I shut everything off,
Yeah.
then I would be back up over 200, and that's easy, and that's in an area that is technically at capacity. So because at capacity for Starlink, they don't mean that the bandwidth's all being used. They mean that so their customers can stay happy, they've allowed what they think is enough people in for now, right? And it's not actually enough. There's a little bit of room for error because they want everybody that is in there to have an optimal customer experience. So they tell their friends, and their friends buy Starlink. That's how businesses work. So when they say at capacity, it doesn't mean that everybody's using it all the time, and unless you're at like an RVing event, like when I go back down to Quartzsite, it's going to be probably fairly tough to use Starlink really well. I mean, I'll still be able to use it, but I would imagine that it is going to be clogged up because a lot of people in the RVing community now have Starlink, and they're all going to be using it simultaneously. Whereas where I'm at now, I've actually talked to a handful of people that do have Starlink out here at their homes, but they only use it for like internet, and they still have cable, and they still have phones, and they're using Starlink as an alternative to cable because sometimes these rural places, I'm in a really rural area, they don't have cable at all, they don't have fiber, they don't have anything, and Starlink is better than I'm sorry, they don't have good internet, or they don't have good TV reception sometimes. So they're using Starlink for they're all using it for different things, but the point is they're not using it like 100% of the time like I am. We use it for internet, we use it for streaming, we use it for all kinds of stuff. So
oh my god, you're gonna laugh when I say this because obviously it goes without saying that I do have an old rotary dial telephone in storage somewhere that obviously I can't use since I haven't had a landline in forever. But
why do you have that in storage?
Well, the thing is, I bought it because it was sentimental value, plus it was cool. I was going to set it up on my desk and have it as a prop, but someone makes a special Bluetooth box so that I can hook it up to my cell phone and then use the rotary dial handset.
Yeah, I've seen something like that before. Yeah.
I thought I'd mention that because I literally just saw that.
That's absurd. Yeah, it's absurd.
I know, kind of like my record player in the background.
Well, at least you got records for that, though.
Oh my god, have you? I don't have Paramount Plus, but have you been watching that new Star Trek show?
Yes. Well, I watched the first 3 episodes that were out when I picked it up a couple weeks ago. I'm sure there's new episodes out now, but I haven't watched them. You're talking about
Strange New Worlds.
The one with Pike. Yeah, Strange New Worlds. It is great. It is the Star Trek show I've been looking for since Next Gen because the other shows are great, even Picard. I really like Picard. But like Picard and Discovery, they're like a 10-episode movie. Yeah. And I just want something a little more chill, and they've gotten back to episodic episodes with Strange New Worlds. Now, like all the other series, they're still going to have your major plot arcs and stuff like that, but you can basically drop into an episode and just watch it. Like sometimes, when my wife and I are just doing whatever, we're both working, but we don't want silence, we'll just drop on an episode of Next Gen or something like that. Cause you can just drop into Next Gen like that, right? You can just put on an episode. It doesn't matter what's going on. But you can't do that with Picard and Discovery. It's just not possible.
Oh my God. When you were talking about having stuff on in the background, that's what I've been using Disney Plus for.
Oh yeah. I need to get our password again for Disney Plus because our Apple, something updated on our Apple TV, and I don't have it. It's not logged in because I was going to catch up on some Star Wars while my wife is gone. Although she likes watching it too, but she's in North Carolina, and I keep forgetting to ask her for the password.
Oh my God. So you haven't watched whatchamacallit? That new Obi-Wan show?
I haven't watched anything on Disney Plus in like 6 months. Ooh. So no. Yeah.
It's oh my God.
Yeah.
It's interesting how incestuous that whole like Hollywood production thing is because Ewan McGregor's wife, or I guess partner, I don't know if they're married, is now also on one of the other upcoming Star Wars shows. Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice. I mean, Hollywood's not unlike any other business where, you're going to hire who you know if they're right
That's
for the
true.
job, rather than go off the street and get somebody you don't know. So,
Oh my God.
archaeology is just
So
like
I
that.
gotta, I'm not sure if like this is gonna be an impolite question or whatnot, but I remember like texting you about a certain like Archeo field text subject or I don't know what you'd call it, like post
Mm-hmm.
that seemed to be very controversial. At least, very controversial among company owners. And I was wondering if you were gonna bring
Mm-hmm.
that up on a episode of CRM field CRM. Oh, hang on, I'm about to sneeze.
Uh, yeah, possibly. It's
Ooh.
yeah. I mean, if anybody watching this in post, there's a post on Archeo Field Techs about, I don't know, this guy posted an email, his termination email. But he was talking about how the company is just unethical and all the things that they do, and dot dot dot, all the things that he hates about him. And well, I'm not disagreeing with him. There's always for one, there's always two sides to every coin. But for two, depending on the size of the company and what's going on, it may not even have been the company, so to speak, that did all those things to him, whether or not they're true, but it may have been, a few people in poor management, positions that just like didn't know what they were doing and were shitty to people. And maybe the company's decent overall, but of course those people reflect on the company. So if you want to reflect a good image as a company owner to your, employees and your employees to everybody else, then hire good people and give them management training. You know what I mean? Let them know how to do things and work as a team, and you can avoid some of those pitfalls. Again, I'm not begrudging the guy. I'm not saying what he experienced was not real, but everybody's experience is different, and there probably are people at that company that absolutely love working there and they'll never want to work anywhere else. So it's all about perspective, and to be honest, he may have a different idea on. I got some inclinations from his reading that he had a little different expectation, even though he's been in for a few years. He had a little different expectation of how the business of archaeology is supposed to be run, and it wasn't meeting those expectations. And I'm like, I would need more information, but like maybe his expectations are a little bit too unrealistic, So you should never be abused. You should never be talked to like you're an asshole, but like an idiot. But you need to understand this field and some of the things that go along with it. But I don't know whether or not we talk about that on the show. I'm not sure. We may not be able to. I have no problem talking about that, but the only other person that's really in a position is Heather. And while we don't mention what company she works for, just because it's not necessary. That might be hitting a little too close to home for her to talk about something like that, just in case. I don't know. I'm putting words in her mouth and I shouldn't be, but also, with our new structure on the show that we've been doing for the last 6 months or so, we're rotating topics around. So it's relatively difficult for us to like slot something in. We can, and we will, but like I already have cards, like my Trello cards printed out for, the next 6-7 episodes and release dates and episode numbers and stuff like that, because we're sharing the planning. So,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
God, you had a completely different take than I was thinking of, because I was thinking that, we're in an age, because, in the olden days, it was like, when you were fired or something happened, like it pretty much just stayed private. Like, plenty of people have been fired and like,
mm-hmm.
were basically kicked out in a very unceremonious and terrible way. But, these,
I was fired by email.
and,
Yeah.
basically nowadays, people like at the company I'm currently employed at, but basically when you send a company email, you're expected to send it in such a way that, you're expected to be uphold certain standards, because it's assumed that, if you're sending out over open channels like that, that it's going to end up either being read by other people at the company, or possibly like, in this case, like, basically just put out on social media. And so you have to have a certain amount of tact, if that makes any sense.
Right, right. I mean, I would assume that anything you do to piss somebody off in this day and age, whether it was justified or not, will be put
Yeah.
on social media. And the real big problem with that is, again, it's all about
Yeah.
perspective. And um, one person puts out something negative about a company because they had a negative experience. And again, maybe I mean, there's any number of reasons
Yeah.
why that could have happened. Maybe they are actually a shitty person,
Yeah.
right? And they needed to be fired. I mean, that is
Yeah.
a possibility. And maybe the person who treated them poorly was having a bad day. Maybe that person is a jerk. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. But the point is, they're going to put this on social media, and then your company's going to look bad, and people are going to think
Yeah.
twice about working there. And whether it's true or not, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter at that point.
'Cause,
It's out there. And the company's not going to go respond. I don't know if they have. There's hundreds of comments on that. I don't know if anybody from the company has
they haven't
responded to that or
directly,
not.
but they have responded in a way. Basically, they're trying to get the horse back into the barn, so to speak. They're trying to get
Yeah.
the post taken down. It's like, once it's out there, it's like it's kind of too
Well,
late.
how are they trying to get the post taken down? I'm an admin on that group, and I haven't seen a request to have it taken down.
Well, you're the other admin saw it first and like responded to it first. But basically, it was reported for quote unquote inappropriate. It was like reported as inappropriate. Yeah.
Huh. Well, it's not inappropriate. That's what this group is for.
You know,
so
thankfully, the other admin, I don't know if he wants his name out there, but basically the other admin was basically kind of making fun of the fact that they were trying to get it taken down as inappropriate.
you can see the admins anytime you want if you're part of the group. Right. So, hey, if anybody's listening to this too and they try to join Archaeo Field Techs, keep in mind, I don't know if the other two admins do this very often, but I see requests for membership all the time. It's a private group, and we have just a handful of questions for you to answer. Basically, are you a field tech, and stuff like that. They're very basic questions, just to weed out the people who are just bots and trying to get in. But so many people don't answer the questions. They join the group and then they don't answer the questions. And guess what? I decline the membership.
Oh my God.
Unless the only way that I accept your membership if you didn't answer the questions is if you two conditions. One, you were added by somebody who's already in the group. And two, I can take a look at your profile and see something, education or something related to archaeology, anthropology, or something else. If I can't see any of that and you got your profile locked down, you're out.
Oh my God. Did you see?
Answer the freaking questions.
Post, I don't know if you were paying too much attention, but there was one of those crypto bots in the group. Yeah, trying to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that it made it through, huh?
Tell us how they made X number of billions of dollars on through crypto, and everyone just follow this link, and suddenly you'll be a crypto millionaire too.
Well, it's surprising that one got through because, like I said, I'm pretty good at rejecting them. But like I said, any one of the three admins can go in there and let people in. So, yeah, I might be a little more critical than the others. So, anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? It's a long story.
All
but,
right.
My investing app told me that although I couldn't invest in stocks this weekend or add to my index funds, I could definitely still buy crypto this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought, oh man,
how is that possible?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you can. I mean, I'm not 100% certain. I mean, that you can invest in crypto. That's different than buying crypto. Like if you can trade dollars for Bitcoin anytime you want. I mean, you're basically just trading it. You're buying Bitcoin. So, yeah. I don't know.
Oh my.
Maybe that's what it was talking about.
I forget. The other thing that happened. I don't know. I feel like everyone has like their hotel/motel stories. But basically, I left some stuff in like a hotel room for like the first time like ever, and so, I was like, it's one of those things where I was like, oh man, someone's just gonna take a look at this and like either pocket it or like throw it away. And so I call up the hotel, and I'm not sure if this has happened to other people. But basically, I call up the hotel, and someone answers, and then they're just like going through the motions, like yeah, we'll take a look, blah blah. And then she's about to hang up. Like, wait, you don't need my name? She's like, no, we have your name. You don't need my number? No, we have your number.
Yeah.
Click.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally, she was just like completely going through the motions. Like, man, Like that's the sort of thing, like, especially if you're doing it to like a field worker, that's the sort of thing that's gonna make them like not stay at your hotel again, just for like future advice to other hotel owners.
I honestly don't understand what's wrong with people. I got some random call the other day from somebody, calling for a politician.
Me too.
And I the person came on and immediately started talking, right? Clearly reading from a script in this monotone, deadpan sort of way. And, they sounded, I only had to listen for a few seconds to know that they were, probably somebody I would vote for, politically aligned with me. But I couldn't tell if it was a recording or not. And I said, is this a real person? And right in the middle of her speaking, she says, I'm a human, and just keeps on going. And I was like, so you're like just reading a script, right? And she's like, I'm a real person reading this message. And I was like, okay, but can we just have a conversation? And she just like was ignoring me and just kept on going. So I freaking hung up on her. I was like, great. If you're not going to actually discuss this and you're just calling to read something, I think you missed the assignment.
Well, as someone who was in customer,
and that's the funny thing is, well, real quick, that's the funny thing. This person is, as political campaigns go, she's probably not paid. She's probably a volunteer, and she's doing it because she's passionate about the political situation. And I'm like, show some of that. Don't just read the script to random call numbers. Like, what are you doing?
Enough, because as someone who was in customer service for a long time, like trying to engage someone in the conversation is the easiest way to like get someone to engage with you in terms of like whatever product or service you are trying to push.
Right. You're right. Exactly.
Oh God damn, oh, go ahead.
Like it works the same way with me at like restaurants and stuff. Like if somebody, if I get a server that's not just going through the motions and actually is engaging, and I mean, I don't expect them to love their jobs. It's a shitty job, right? I get that, but I'm also paying for that experience of you enjoying serving me. And if we can have a dialogue in a conversation and we can joke back and forth, I mean, I'm more likely to potentially order more, and I'm more likely to tip way more. I don't tip along social lines. Like I don't do, a standard 20% or something like that. I tip based on how I feel the service was. And I don't have a minimum. My minimum's 0. So, if you're an asshole, then you're going to get paid like an asshole.
Oh my God. Oh, before I forget, one of the things that we should mention, not to jump back to Starlink, back and forth between Starlink and other things, but I think I don't know what you're like, what you're paying per month, but what I've been seeing online basically shows like what, $115 a month, which is like cheaper than what I'm paying now for my internet.
Yeah, it went to 115, and then just a month ago or so, right before they came out with the RV thing, we enacted what they call portability, because it was, and I think they're just doing this to, I don't know, just to get the people that are going between cells. But we were able to, as of the last 3 or 4 months, they turned on roaming, so you didn't have to turn on your change your service home. You could actually just go to another place and use it, but of course you would get degraded service. But now with portability, that's just been made more official, so to speak. And you're now allowed to go back, and you don't have to actually change your home service. And this is really more for people who come back to a home service area all the time, and they don't want to lose their spot in that cell, their prime spot in that cell, because they might. So they turn this on so they can take it out and always come back to a home. Now we have that all turned on because we're using it in an RV and we're always in a different spot. And you might be asking, why don't we get the RV compatible one? Because for some stupid reason, it's a different dish. I'd have to get all new hardware. Yeah. I'd have to get all new hardware to get the RV compatible one. And that's dumb because I'm already doing what that one does.
Is the new RV one cat sitting or cat sleeping compatible?
Well, even the new one is not really. It's smaller and rectangular, whereas the older one was bigger and round. So yeah, you can fit fewer cats on it. Yeah. Ours sits 20 feet off the ground anyway, so cats can't really get up there. Yeah, well, true story. So, but anyway, yeah.
Anyway, it's almost the top of the hour. Was there anything going on at the APN you want to bring up?
Not anything out of the ordinary. I'm hoping when Rachel gets back that we can get back into a groove on our live show, the Archaeology show live show that we were doing. We were in the infancy on that, and it was too hard to really logistically keep it going when she left town for a few weeks. So we'll have to see if we can pick that up. She's back on Wednesday, so we'll see if we can get back into a groove on it. And then the only other real news is Rock Art went to every 2 weeks, and the Dirt release date is now Wednesdays instead of Mondays. So yeah, and we are bringing on. We're starting 2 new podcasts here, probably in the next. I'm hoping in the next month or so, possibly 2 months, and it should be pretty good. The Pseudo Archaeology podcast is being kicked back off by Andrew Kinkella, one of the hosts of the Sierra Mark podcast. Yeah, it used to be called Archie Fantasies because Sarah Head took her brand with her, of course, and which we encouraged her to do. And so now we just changed it back to Pseudo Archaeology just to have the feed, and he's just keeping that title. He's not changing it. So he's recorded an episode, and he's going to record a few more, and then we'll kick that back off. And then if you've ever seen on Instagram, it's called Archaeologist Teacup or something like that. I can't remember. I think that's what she calls it. Yeah, and it's an awesome woman. She actually went to school with Tristan, the co-founder of the APN, and I didn't know that. And she does this, like, she does it on Reels and all kinds of stuff. But she, like, usually starts with a teacup. She's British, and then talks about something in archaeology. Talks about artifact or something like that, and it's actually pretty good. And she's turning that into a longer form podcast. So that's
she's probably got some fancy spelling or whatever.
You just type in archaeology and teacup, and it didn't come up. Huh? Yeah, I'll have to find it. Anyway, yeah. So that should be fun.
Interesting. Before we go, speaking of like zooming and stuff, like one of those things I remember years ago when you were bringing up the idea to like various archaeology organizations of like live streaming their lectures and whatnot. They were like, oh my God, we don't want that info out there. But the thing is that I now follow several YouTube channels where, they're not archaeologists, but they do deal in like stuff that archaeologists deal with. Not like, they're not like looters or anything, but they approach it. They're like either like mine engineers or stuff like that. And they just like talking about historical stuff. And so like I watch their Zoom channels or their YouTube channels, and like they're literally putting up all the stuff that like archaeologists are so afraid of. And I'm like, man, at a certain point, like these old people organizations just have to face the fact that, if they don't live stream and they don't like, live stream this stuff, then eventually people are just like, it's really expensive to go to like these conferences, and they're just going to start like bleeding people. Like, God, what was it? Like the Society for California Archaeology meeting you and I were both at. Like that was like way down in attendance.
Yeah. It was. I mean, they got more people in at the last minute, which was good for them. But yeah, I mean, like I've said a million times, I think these conferences should stop focusing on just like presentations and stuff. I don't think that's a big enough draw anymore. And they should focus on, if they want people to meet physically, they should focus on more social and networking events rather than just data presentation events, and have a venue for that, but recently, not live.
Person in with several organizations, and like he was pointing out that one of our favorite conferences, like they're basically dead broke right now. And even if they wanted to, they can't really hold like a really good conference. It's one of those conferences, like I'm not going to mention the name because I'm not sure, because he told it to me in confidence, but it's one of those conferences that only takes place every other year. And if you're in a certain part of the country, you know what conference I am talking about. But basically they're out of cash. And they're like one of the most hardcore about like not like live streaming or sharing anything.
Yeah. Well, they sent that email to all their members, so and I saw it. I know who you're talking about. So yeah, they should be out of cash, and they should do their conference virtually. Better so, or do something a little different.
Really good papers there, unlike some of the other conferences you and I go to.
Yeah, right. But is it good for that reason, or is it good because you work in that region and it's actually pertinent to you, or is it because you see a lot of your friends that you never see? I mean. Yeah, I mean, that's, again, the social aspect is really what makes a conference something memorable that you want to go to, right? I mean, the people that are presenting until their paper, and then they can relax and do whatever. But and that's what they remember from it. But hey, real quick, the underscore archaeologists underscore teacup is the name of the profile. So
like I still remember when you hosted a panel at that conference, like the after talk was like was like, you know, one of the better after talks that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, so what was it again?
The underscore archaeologists underscore teacup.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Ha.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's got a website too, thearchaeologistteacup.com.
Well, so do I, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything on it.
True, and I haven't seen her website yet in a while until she.
Oh, interesting! Yeah. Wow, she puts a lot of work into this.
Yeah, she does. She does, and she's, I don't know, several times a week at least.
Ooh.
So, yeah, got some good views on her reels too. It's consistent, you know.
Oh wait, so how's the APN TikTok thing going?
I mean, I need somebody to do it, man. Like I can't keep up on it. I go in waves where I'll put some content out, but it's just like takes so long to put that stuff together. And I don't have it in me to just do it every single day. You know, it's too much.
Oh my God. That's like some of the stories I do. That's why I only do them once a week. I'm like, I cannot.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't really, I mean, we're not doing it. Obviously you don't make any money on it. I mean, you might at some point, but, we do it for engagement, you know, to get information out there and just trying to figure out, you know, what to do. And obviously it's podcast related because there's episodes coming out, but again, it's a lot of work and it's not something I can prioritize right now.
Oh my God.
So
like everything in this space is a lot of work. Like video making is a lot of work. Like I feel like sometimes some people don't realize how much work this takes.
Well, this is why people who really put the time in end up getting paid for it because you know, if they didn't, then the services like YouTube and Instagram and Facebook know that they just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, people are motivated by money and they're not going to do it unless they're paid well. So,
and it's kind of like one of the hosts on this one of the dirt hosts, like, you know, they got a job thanks to their the skills they picked up doing this job.
Yeah, which is why the show now comes out on Wednesdays. So she needs a couple extra days to process that show, and they record on the weekend, which I totally understand. So I'm just glad they're still weekly. I expected her to say that they were going to go down every 2 weeks, but she's going to keep it rolling. So,
well, you know, like passion, like passion shows.
Yep. Indeed. All right, well, I gotta wrap this up and get on. So, hang on. Everybody, thanks for listening. And hey, if you are listening to this and you're not a supporter of the APN right now, well, you are because you're listening to this. But if you're not a you know, an official member, go to arcpodnet.com/members, and for $7.99 a month, or I think it comes down to like $5 a month or something like that, a little over $5 a month if you do annually. You can join us and support us and get early copies of episodes, not too early sometimes, but you can get early episodes and commercial free. And you get our whole back catalog of video programs that we've done anytime you want as well. So
video programs.
Plus bonus content.
Like what?
Anything we've done live that's recorded is in the back catalog, and you can access that as a member anytime you want. If you're not a member, you can only see it if you attend the live event. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's like the YouTube training I have to attend today.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, hey, have you seen? I know you listen to CRM Arc and I think Archaeotech and stuff like that, and TAS maybe. Have you caught any of our bonus content?
Oh wait,
because it's on the website, and I just don't think a lot of people are going to the website to go check out their bonus content. You know what I mean? So.
Well, part of the problem, it's like those business cards people hand out that have the that had the QR code, and like you know, it's like, you know, there's so many QR codes everywhere, but how many people actually like click on, like, scan them?
I know. I
mean, the only time I scan a QR code is if it's a menu at a restaurant and they refuse to give me like a menu.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, check out your bonus content if you're a member. It's if it's straight up bonus content, not attached to an episode, then it's in the bonus section. If it's attached to an episode, it's in the ad-free downloads area, and it's just another audio block right next to the episode. So we've been doing CRM Arc segment 4s and TAS segment 4s occasionally, and sometimes an Archaeotech segment 4. And it's usually either something else entirely or something tied to what we were talking about, but it's always entertaining.
Oh, shoot. Amy
So.
just put something in the chat, but I cannot read it yet. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. I think that's like a big problem with a lot of people is the fact that they don't listen from the site. They listen from their app.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I mean, it really is difficult for people to find that, but there's no other way for us to put it out. So you can't just put it out in the feed if it's bonus for members. So yeah. All right. Well, and honestly, you can click on the you can go to the page from your phone.
Yeah.
And then if you're like driving or something or doing survey, you can still play it from the page. The player will work while your phone's right there. So that's something for people to check out. Yeah.
Kind of like
all right.
It's like the way I try to access my company emails, but Google is very good about forcing you to use their app.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So.
Alrighty. So I'm not sure when we'll be back, but hopefully we'll be back soon-ish.
True to the show's form, we'll be back when we're back. So.
Yeah. All right, guys.
There you go.
Nice talking with you.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.
All right.
Bye.